Oh, welcome, church family. It's Wednesday, June 30th, and it's our midweek Wednesday night service, the Oasis, here at the Oakland Center for Spiritual Living. And I welcome everybody. What a month it has been. But before I jump into that, I want to talk a little bit about what is the Oasis. Reverend Jeff called it our place where we can get together in between Sundays as a community so we can be spiritually refreshed. He also introduced our Wednesday nights to be in the satsang style so that we can have a rich discussion and that it also be formal and an intimate experience. Bless you, bless you. One and all. Our annual theme this year is Timeless Wisdom, Evolutionary Vision, and our monthly theme is The Soul's Call. We're celebrating many things this month, but our focus has been on Pride Month. And then we had Juneteenth. Then it became a national holiday on top of that. Hurrah for that. We had Father's Day and, of course, summer solstice. So we've had a lot of spiritual and physical activity going on, celebrating. Also, tomorrow is a historic day, July 1st, and it's the 6th anniversary when Reverend Jeff started as our senior minister tomorrow, July 1st in 2015. And every year, Dorothy Mendez would remind all of us that Reverend Jeff was her birthday present. Yep, tomorrow is Dorothy's 80th birthday, and she is a treasure to our community and village. So help me add another celebration to our list tonight and wish her a very happy milestone birthday. She's here with us tonight. We already sang happy birthday, Dorothy, but I'm dedicating tonight to you, darling. Happy, happy, happy birthday.
Thank you so much. Thank you, one and all. Thank you. I feel so blessed for this 80th birthday. I'm just,
Yeah, I think you're lying.
my cup is runneth over, okay? For all the love I am getting from my community that I love so much. I'm just overwhelmed. And I thank you.
You deserve every bit of it, Dorothy. You know how I feel about you. Dorothy was instrumental in keeping me fed and standing up and moving during the renovation. She was there every day with me, with a lot of other people, but she said, nope, you got to stop and eat. And I said, okay, let's eat. So that got us through the day. Thank you, Dorothy, for everything that you do for us. So with that in mind, we want to welcome anybody that's joining us tonight for the first time. We're glad you're here. You can sign up for our village news on the same website you came in on the lower left-hand corner. If you want to stay better connected and find out what's coming up in the week ahead, it has all the links so you can join us for everything. And it's in the lower left-hand corner. Just put in your email address and submit. Also, please know, family, that to improve the quality of the transmission, we will mute your camera and your microphone. So don't be upset about it. We'll have a chance to turn them all back on in a little bit. So our speakers this month were rich and wise, covering a lot of ground for Pride Month. Practitioner Doug Myers led us off, and then practitioner Constance Chapman and I pushed your buttons a little bit with some gender bending. And then villager Sam Lejean gave us an excellent history of important folks and not so known, but important folks that shifted and helped with Pride. And then capping off last week was Dr. Reverend Sunshine Michelle Coleman. What a month for speakers. Well, I count 4 speakers so far. Oops, it's 5th Wednesday. If there's a 5th Wednesday, that means our speaker tonight is the fabulous practitioner, Christopher Brown. So we're going to welcome him in just a minute to get us going. He'll be speaking on allowing for differences. But I want to tell you a little teeny tiny bit, just a little bit about Mr. Brown. First, he's a licensed practitioner here at our center. He's a gifted motivational speaker with regular appearances at the Home of Truth in Alameda and Unity in Brentwood. With his wife, practitioner Susan Urquhart Brown, they lead international events with their Power of Presence workshops and retreats. Also, with Susan, they host a gathering of independent researchers called Saturday Circle, which has met every month for over a decade now. And if that's not enough, Christopher serves with me as the co-lead of the facilities management team here at the center. And so when you see it in person, which we'll be doing very, very soon, please make sure you say thank you to him because he did a tremendous amount of work along with other folks, but he really co-led that renovation with me, and I'm so grateful. And he's affectionately known throughout the land as the professor of the physical universe. Wow, what a bio, Christopher. You have got a lot in that little bit there, little teeny tiny little bit to talk about you. So with that in mind, Christopher, if you're ready, would you open us in prayer and then we're ready to receive your talk.
Oh, good. Thank you, Paul. So let's take a breath together and take it all the way in until it disappears in your body and just allow it to disappear. And then notice it comes back out again. And again, it goes in and disappears and then returns. This rhythm of life, this rhythm that is this very moment. And if you'll find yourself putting both hands on your heart and feeling your core, your absolute center, that tireless muscle that really, truly is our life. And as we feel this beating heart, we drop deeper into the body, into awareness, into that which is always here, this quiet, silent awareness. And from this, our life flows forward, evolves, and changes. And so how good it is to welcome tonight's interaction, tonight's little mini workshop, the participation of everyone here, ideas that are shared. And so I welcome and bless all of the activity of this evening. I bless Dorothy on her 80th birthday. I'm just grateful for everyone who showed up tonight to contribute to this gathering. And for that, I simply bring a smile to my face and I feel my heart, and it is good. And so blessed be, amen, and so it is. And so here we are. So good to be here again. Allowing for differences. That sounds easy. Allowing for differences. But I don't like my neighbor. There's a lot of people I don't like, especially some of the weird politicians. And what about the insurrection? That wasn't okay with me. So allowing differences. If you look at spiritual work, it seems like the essence of all religions brings us back to how do we return to peace? Because we will be hooked daily. Something will be not okay with us, and we'll be hooked with an upset or something's just not right. And that's not everybody. It's probably just me. But I get hooked on a kind of a daily basis. Sometimes it's a big hook, sometimes it's a small hook. Thich Nhat Hanh says, we are here to awaken from our illusion of separateness. It's hard to remain upset with somebody if you get that you're in this together, that you're in the same fabric of life. that the heart is beat by the same miracle. But how easily that is to lose. And so, why is it that we close our hearts to certain people in certain situations? We just close down and we will not tolerate them. And even when we know better, we still can't accept the other. So it gets down to, okay, so we're stuck. Do we need to get unstuck? Would that be of value? A lot of people will say, no, I don't need to get stuck. I'm never going to see him again. I'm done with them. Well, that's a strategy and that's fine. Except when you do see that person again, do you feel funny inside? Do you get upset? And when you do get upset, and I know there's certain people in every one of our lives, it's hard. These are hard people. When I do see those people, I know for me there's certain people, I have a feeling in my body, and I'm going to call that upset, or I've lost my peace. Well, where did I put my peace? Here's the tricky one. I have placed my peace in their hands. I have given them the power over my peace. Wouldn't it be important then to maybe retrieve my power or my peace? Would that be of value? Would you be willing to do that? And this is what tonight's about. Now, as sapiens, the sapiens that we are kind of a suspicious lot. We like people that look like us, that think like us. We don't like the people in the insurrection there at the White House. Those were not our people. Well, maybe some of them were, I don't know. But you get what I'm saying. We have things a certain way, and we don't particularly like change. But the interesting thing is, and tell me if I'm wrong here, but when you've gotten to know somebody that you didn't particularly like at first, you realize they weren't so bad. When you became more familiar, when you became curious about them, did that change your experience of them? I'm going to venture to say, yes, it did. So one of the more important things to do in allowing for differences or learning to accept is, are we curious? Are we curious to know a little bit more about the person? Or are we just going to dismiss them, throw them to the curb? They're just not like us. They'll never understand. I don't like their values or their beliefs. Oh, and their politics. Don't get me started. So if I were to ask you, chocolate or vanilla, which do you like? Probably some of you would say vanilla, some would say chocolate, others would say neither, I like mint. Okay. Now I'll ask you, why do you like what you choose or what you have picked? And you'll say, well, it's the flavor. And I'll say, fine, it's the flavor. What about the flavor? Well, and the more I look, you probably can't actually answer other than, I just like it. I like the way it tastes. And if that's true for chocolate, what about for people? Do we really examine our dislikes for these particular people? I mean, really, do we really examine them? Because it might be something, I just don't like them. And that's fine. You don't have to like them. But if they're causing you, when you see them, if you go into upset, that's something that you might want to look at. Not that you need to, but it's something that you might want to look at. Because when I'm in upset, I don't see straight. I don't think straight. I don't speak from my heart and from kindness. And I don't like me when I'm in that kind of place, when I'm in that contraction, that upset. So I've got to be aware of my triggers. And that's going to be really important. And so what are the triggers? What kind of people upset me? Is there a commonality? And here's the fun thing. If you work on any one particular trigger, you tend to work on all of them because you start to see that you're the one that put the triggers there. And the other person just happened to walk by and touch that trigger, and boom, off you went like a cannon. So in order to kind of get a grip on this, we're going to have to slow it down and to kind of find out, what is it that we really want? Do we want peace, or do we want to be right and continue what we're doing? Because you don't have to change. No one's asking you to change. But I might be suggesting that you look at maybe giving people permission to be the way they are. That's a tough one. Would it be okay with you for people to be the way they are? The homeless person that's smelly, the insurrectionist that was beating a policeman with a flagpole, those kind of people. And they don't have to be that radical. They can be members of the family that just are obnoxious, that you don't want to be around. So what's the antidote? What's the way in to try to return to peace? Again, I'm going to bring it back to curiosity. Can I be curious about that person that I don't like? And there's a person that Paul knows who she is. There's a person in one of the apartment buildings that I'm literally terrified of. I have no idea whether she's going to be a buzzsaw or a bunny rabbit if I run into her. And that's pretty spooky. So what I've also noticed about myself, if I'm in a good centered space and if I'm feeling good, I can run into that individual and I can say, hey, hi. And if I'm not in a good space, whatever she says, I'm more on guard. So I'm looking at, there's a function of me in here. Is it really just the other person? Or do I play a part in this dynamic? And I'm going to suggest that no one can make you upset without your participation. Because someone can do a behavior and somebody else might applaud and say, that's great, look at that. Boy, he's really beating that cop with that flagpole. Now, that's not okay with me, and I'm going to get upset over that. But to somebody else, they're having a great time. So it really has to do with the situation and how it filters into my senses, into my conditioning, my values, my beliefs. And if it's contrary to that, I have to look at that. Can I allow them to be who they are? And that doesn't give them permission to hurt people. I want to be clear about that, because sometimes it's just not okay, period. But when it's like the lady in the apartment building, can I allow her to have whatever's going on with her and not try to change her, but just to try to understand her? That might be a first step. So here's some of the strategies. First off, you avoid the person in the hallway. You just don't ever run into them. You don't ever go down that hallway again. And the second thing is if you do, you always blame them. It's always their fault. Those are strategies. They're not particularly effective strategies. They don't bring back my peace. I've got to look at the fact that I'm the one that's getting upset. It's an inside job with me, and I need to look at that if I want to. So we're all independent researchers trying to figure this out. We're trying to awaken from our illusion of separateness. We're trying to return to peace. not just once, but again and again. And it's a daily. You lose your peace, you fall, you get back up again. You lose it, you regain it. You pick it up, you regain it again and again. Can we allow for differences? Can we allow other people to have their differences? So one little last story, and then we'll do our breakout room. In Turkey was the first time that Susan and I saw ladies in full black burqas with a little eyepiece with the little bars, and all you could see is these little eyes in there. And for some reason, that was scary to me. And I felt threatened. I felt like that was a suicide bomber in the making. And I know better, but it was like, what are you kidding? Who are you kidding? Why don't you get a grip? Don't you know this is male-dominated bull, and wake up and blah, 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 blah. That was the story I'm telling myself. I didn't even invite that movie, but that's the story that came out. Well, I got to see a lot of them in Turkey, and I kind of got used to it. And then more recently, I saw one on Piedmont Avenue in Berkeley. I don't even look at them as women. I look at them as just these dark aberrations of fear and violence. I went, wow, for all the work I'm doing, that comes up for me. I need to take a look at that. So that's kind of the theme, that's the setup for tonight's activity. I know that every one of you has their burqa lady, or has somebody or some situation that brings up a story that's probably not acceptable to you. So the first thing you're going to be doing when you get into partners, besides greeting your wonderful partner, and Constance will be breaking us out very shortly, you'll be in groups of 2. You're going to be sharing with your partner, what are your burqa ladies? See if you can name maybe 4 or 5 different people or situations that cause you to run a movie that's not okay with you. That whatever that is, that's not safe passage in your mind. That's not who you are. It's that kind of like violent reaction. So, naming a couple people, 3 or 4 people or situations. What does that situation look like in terms of causing you upset? And then how do you feel inside? What does it feel like to be upset like this? Did you really cause the upset? Did they cause the upset? How did the upset occur? But you have it in your body. And then finally, what story are you telling about this situation? I know that's a lot of questions, but as you start talking, it'll come to you. So again, naming some people. What's the upset? How does it feel? And what story are you telling about it? I know you're going to do great. So Constance, if you'll kindly break us out into our groups now.
Unmute, Mr. Brown.
There we go. Okay, we're back. Whoa. Okay. So what did you notice? Was there a similarity in the upsets? If you were able to go to more than one, did you see a similarity? Did you get a sense that you're kind of the common denominator in each upset? I'm going to shut up now and let some people share what they discovered, perhaps. Peter, and then Sharon.
Yeah. It seemed like intolerance. People that were intolerant of me, of us, and their interaction, and it had a kind of a superior attitude of not really wanting to share so much as explain, maybe, or point out. And that was something that I know that plugged me in, and one of the other person in the room also said that same thing. So that's one feature that I work with. So yeah, that's my share.
Thank you. Sherry?
Yeah, the common denominator I found was when I lose my peace when I'm not in control. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Especially when I get afraid for what's happening in the situation. And then I just, I lose it, and my peace just goes out the window, and I feel it in my body. It kind of invades. So
Okay.
that was the common denominator, was fear and loss of control.
You're probably the only one. But I mean, if we are honest, isn't that kind of where it goes? Where there's some degree we feel threatened. That this is part of the lizard brain that acts so quickly. So, because if it doesn't act quickly, we can be eaten by a tiger. When we think it's the rustling in the grass, but it's really a tiger some of the time. But if we make the wrong decision, and we're dead. And so, of course, the lizard brain's going to want to react quickly and decisively. So it's going to set up those pheromones, and we're off to the races before we know it.
Yeah, it's even more not fear for me, but fear for the other people in the situation, like my grandchildren.
Sure.
When I see that they may be in real danger,
Yeah.
and I'm helpless. So it's that lack of control.
Yeah. Perfect. Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Who else?
I'll go.
Okay.
I had the delightful partners of Karen and Dennis. So we had a three-way. Okay.
Oh.
Yeah, and that may upset some folks, but it don't bother me at all. I like them. So with that in mind, I think you guys, you can help me with this. A common denominator was that we all three of us have a trigger of some nature, and it may be insignificant to others, but it's not to us. Would you agree, guys? We all had, it wasn't about, that was the common denominator, is that, and Dennis, I thought yours was a great share, if you want to, because I didn't know that practice would offend somebody, if you wanted to share it with the group.
Well, I think overall the thread for me was that it triggers in each of us a negative feeling when we're treated with disrespect. And I think that was common to each of us.
Yes.
Those things bother us.
Yeah. My take on that is that I'm no longer seen as a person. I feel disconnected and invalidated, and it's like, what happened? And my identity doesn't like it at all. sort of disrespect or dismissal. And so for me, that separation, there I go right into separation. And that's also the doorway. That's the doorway out of separation into union, is the acknowledgement and the wake up right at that moment. Look where I have gone. I am now separate, and I'm now running my story that this person isn't okay. And I feel this in my body, which tells me I'm feeling separate. So it's like, okay, what's the way back from here? Not to spiritually bypass it, but can I be curious? What's going on with me right
Anything else to show?
No,
Yeah,
no.
okay.
now? Okay. Well, let's move on to the next one then.
I've got a comment,
Oh.
Christopher.
Sure.
This is
The
TC.
TC?
Yeah.
Okay.
A spiritual teacher told me, this is back in the 80s. So, during the New Age thing. Anyway, they said the sole cause of anger is unrealized expectations. And so whenever I get pissed off, I take a step back and it's like, all right, what was I expecting? And then I can evaluate whether I think that my expectation was reasonable or unreasonable. And then I can move forward with figuring out how to, approach some sort of resolution. That's not, the burqa woman of the woman walking down the street, but definitely just respectful comments, and it's like my grandmother gave me a stick pin that was my grandfather's, and he died a few months before I was born. And I was really touched. And my father and his sister got pissed off because she had never given them anything of his. And so she asked for it back.
Whoa.
And that really pissed me off. And, so when I heard that, this was like 10 years after the incident. And then so I thought about, was it reasonable? What was the reasonable expectation of that? And it's like, you know what? Yeah, it was reasonable that if she gave it to me that I would be able to keep it. Yeah, that's a reasonable expectation. But it's my grandmother, and so I can't say anything to her, but I can just acknowledge that, the anger was probably reasonable. But it's been a very, very useful tool in my life. And it comes back to, taking responsibility for it. It's like I had expectations, they were unfulfilled, and so therefore I got pissed off in some way. I'm complete.
Good. Thank you. That was good. Okay. Shakespeare says there is nothing either good or bad, only thinking makes it so. Nothing either good or bad, only thinking makes it so. So it's really how we're viewing the world is through our particular lens, through our traumas, through our experiences. And they're not the same as others. And so it might be a good idea to give people the benefit of the doubt. And that's tough. That's really the tough one here. So I'm going to tell you about the snake and being desensitized. If you have a fear of snakes and you've been traumatized by snakes, and I'm going to tell you, I'm going to bring you on in. I'm going to bring Zoe. Zoe's afraid of snakes. I'm going to say, Zoe, we're going to fix that phobia of yours. And he's going to say, oh yeah, sure. But I'm going to invite you into this room. And if you look in that room there's going to be a bunch of snakes in there, and you're going to be able in a while to go in there and touch them. And Zoe's going to say, nope, I'll pass on that one. And I'll say, well, Zoe, why don't you just walk up and look in the window? Could you do that? Oh yeah, I can do that. And so Zoe goes up and looks in the window. You can see the snakes in there. They're harmless. And then after a while, he gets used to that. opens, I can open the door. Would you be willing to look in the door at the snakes with the door open? Then, after a while, he might think that that's an okay idea. And he can look in there. And then it's baby steps from there. You get where I'm going with this. Would you take one step into the room? The second step, and then you back off. If that's too much, and then you allow the space and the system to calm down. So you're desensitizing the nervous system. We are ramped up, and this is where the triggers are. The triggers have been put there for our survival. How do you desensitize them other than an immersion in looking at it when you're fired up? Not that you need to push yourself real hard, but just the very awareness and the willingness to look. Oh, look at this! Because I was watching that fellow that I cut off and honked at me, and I was upset today. And I watched it and I went, wow, here it is. That's the lizard brain, there to protect me. Thank you, lizard brain, but I've got this. So we're going to break out into another group. We're going to continue this. And what you're going to be dealing with your wonderful next partner is, what is the trigger? Can you identify any triggers? And know that you don't need to change any of those triggers, but once you're aware of the triggers, they start to change themselves. So it's important that you kind of take a look at what are the triggers? And ask yourself, am I really powerless to do anything about this? Or is it possible to shift this? And last thing, what would be a baby step? A baby step, maybe looking in the window at it, or opening the door and peering in at the snakes. You kind of get the idea. So it's, what are the triggers? What would be some baby steps? And I forgot the other one. You get the idea.
Are you
Constance-
powerless? Am I powerless
Oh.
against this? Or can I change?
Yes, that's it. Thank you,
And then
Paul.
can I take baby steps?
Right, very good. So
I'm
let's
putting it in chat.
do, Constance, if you can break us out for 8 minutes, if that's possible.
Just give me 1 second.
Sure.
Also, I need to know if Grady, who's on the call, is, can you, if you're really there, Grady, can you unmute yourself and let me know? Because I'll put you in a room, but, no. Okay. All right. So I'm going to open the rooms now. You've got 8 minutes.
Okay, thank you so much.
Okay.
Well, I hope you've thanked your wonderful partner.
Oh, heck no, we didn't even finish.
Oh, I know.
Thank you, Maureen.
Thank
this
you,
is-
Zoe and Freya.
Whoa. Does anybody want to share anything from that, what they learned about their triggers and they learned about what would be a baby step? Did you even get to baby steps? Jerry.
I think the baby step is recognizing that there's a trigger that's been, or a button that's been pushed, recognizing that. I think that's definitely a baby step, and recognizing that and exploring the why.
Beautiful. Well said. Thank you.
Taking that a little further, this is Peter.
Yeah.
Taking that a little further, the baby step that I shared with Reinhard was to acknowledge what someone says if they've plugged me in after I've kind of taken that little breath, and acknowledge what they said in a way that doesn't threaten them, not an accusatory way, just saying, oh, I hadn't thought about it that way, or something neutral, so that I'm acknowledging what they are saying and the value of what they're saying. And hopefully that will lead to more conversation that we can share and lower, at least lower my threshold
Yes.
of hostility. I can't control theirs, but yeah, that's one thing. Yeah.
Oh, good. Well said. Anybody else? Okay. I'm not seeing any other hands. Well, whew. Well, I'm going to take a breath. This is a topic that deserves to be looked at on a daily basis. This is more of a practice. And if ever there was a spiritual practice, it would be one of returning to peace, one of awakening from the illusion of our separateness, of one of just coming home to this moment. Because when we're really at rest and at ease in this moment is okay. But if we look into the mind, if we look anything beyond this moment, past or future, we tend to get into trouble. So the key here, again and again, to returning to peace, one of the practices we all talk about is returning to the breath. Anything that brings us into the current moment, that gets us out of our minds and into our bodies. And with that, I want to thank you for staying with me through these exercises this evening. Thank you for your participation also.
Let's thank Mr. Brown, everybody. Wow, this hour went by quick, Christopher. Did it not?
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, thank you, sir, so much for rounding off our month. I'm getting my notes up here. Every week I get to this point and they disappear on me. There it is. All right. Blessed be. Thank you again, Christopher. Couple of announcements real fast. Peter, when you're ready, my friend. This Sunday, July 4th, begins a new month with a new theme. And that theme is Pulled by Vision for July. Reverend D. Jacqueline Edwards is speaking on Pulled by Vision. We hold these truths. We are still meeting on Zoom on Sunday. So tell your friends. Meditation at 10, service at 10:30. Next Wednesday, July 7th, Zoe is going to be our speaker, our practitioner, Zoe DeMuro. And he'll be also speaking on Pulled by Vision. We hold these truths. Meditation at 6:30 and service at 7.
No, actually, I won't be.
Up. So tell me the truth, Zoe. Join me.
My topic is your commitment greater than your resistance?
Beautiful.
You may want that one, but that's not really your topic, but
I was given a choice and that's the one I chose. And that's the one I've been writing.
oh, who gave you the choice?
Reverend Jerry.
Well, Reverend Jerry forgot to tell me.
Is your commitment greater than your,
Resistance.
Distance.
right? Can we return to peace on this, you two?
My apologies, Constance, but I know that oftentimes our creative expression shows up in a different way other than the specific topic.
Well, the creative expression of the Village News is showing up differently too then.
It'll all be fine.
Zoe is going to be here Wednesday night. He's going to talk about something still to be determined. But whatever it is, it's going to be fabulous because Zoe doesn't do anything that's not fabulous. So Zoe, it'll be great. It'll be great. Next, also Zoe's next Sunday has got the Compassion Attention to Loss Ministry, and they're holding their monthly circle at 12:30 on Sunday. It's after service. Zoe, the theme this week for CALM is forgiveness. Is that correct?
Yes, it is.
Thank you very much. The Zoom link is on the events page of the website. Have you wanted to use writing as a spiritual practice? Do you use writing now and want to take it to another level? Join Reverend Catherine Sachs for a Tuesday night, 6-week journey, writing as a spiritual practice. This class is in person at the center and starts Tuesday, July 13th at 6:30. The cost is $125 and you can sign up on the current classes page of the website. Have you been missing seeing villagers in person? This is brand new, y'all. Yes, practitioner Zoe DeMuro and villager Nikki Royce are hosting a Sunday afternoon social gathering in the courtyard right after service this Sunday, 4th of July, from 2:30 to 4:30. Liberate yourself from the last year of isolation and learn to socialize again. So go to Zoom church, go to Zoom prayer, go to CALM, and then come to the courtyard for social, for our first Sunday social. This is to prep us to getting back into the building. But to protect everyone, please respect the following as shown on the slide. The bathrooms will be open, but one person at a time only. Masks must be worn indoors. The social hall and other areas in the building will not be open. Vaccinated or not, please respectfully ask before hugging or shaking hands, and there will be no refreshments served. However, if you bring any food or drink, please plan to pack it out as you packed it in, because whatever you bring in, we have no receptacles and no trash service at this time. Okay, so all those restrictions, come and have a good time. Please save the date of Saturday, September 4th for Reverend Jeff's memorial at the Oakland Center. It will be at 11 a.m. If you're interested in remembering Reverend Jeff by rafting, you can do that on his favorite river. Our own Janine Perry, along with Krista McAtee and Janet Dupree from Santa Rosa, have organized a memorial rafting trip on the American River for September 17th to the 19th. Now, this is not affiliated with our center, but it may involve you. So to find out more and reserve your spot, contact Janet Dupree at 707-478-7300. Her number is on the events page of our website that talks about this event. Breaking bookstore news. Do you have a vision for what you would like the bookstore to be? As we begin to think about reopening, Linda Wyman would like to train an assistant manager. This person would share responsibility with her for ordering, keeping track of inventory, book requests, and budget. While not required to be a cashier, this person must be willing and able to take on cashier responsibilities and troubleshoot problems in the bookstore. To apply, please contact Linda Wyman at bookstore@oaklandcsl.org. We are looking forward to hearing from you. And don't forget our in-person groups, our noontime Dr. Dan, Monday through Friday. We also have Susan Brecker who holds an in-person small group every Tuesday from 3 to 4 in the courtyard. And Zoe, practitioner Zoe DeMuro, is leading an online small group online on Thursdays at 6:30. You can explore the readings for the week and enjoy the connections these gatherings afford. Information for all these groups are on the events page of our website. Everything is on our website, Information Central. So make sure you check everything out there. And we want to thank everybody that participated in the service tonight. Susan Urquhart Brown for the beautiful meditation. The Zoom team, the best in the world. Constance, Peter, Alice. That's our Zoom team tonight. I didn't forget anybody. So thank you all for helping us make this service great. Thank you all for joining us. And we're going to take a minute and do a quick offering affirmation. I remembered this week. Forgive me for forgetting last week. We should do this twice, but it'll be doubly as important as I make a big deal about my trigger. Giving affirmation, read it with me. This gift I give is God in action, does good work in the world, and bless creation. So I pass our digital bowl from person to person to person to person to receive your offering. And the way you can contribute that is where else? On the webpage where everything else is. On the home page of our webpage. There's a donate button for credit card. There's a texting number up there, 510-327-3431 if you want to text that way. Or you can do it the regular way and send in a check. The address is there. We are ever so grateful for your contributions. Great or small, it's all important. It keeps the gates open and the lights on. So thank you for what you do. And we are truly blessed.
Hey,
And with
Paul?
that in mind, yes, ma'am.
I just want everyone to know that our bookkeeper is in the process of setting up Zelle as another way of actually getting money to tithe. And so watch the Village News, not this week, but next week for that information about how to use Zelle.
Okay. See, we're ever expanding in technology. It's a trigger I have. But I'll allow it to be and do its thing because look at how good I've gotten at this stuff, over the pandemic. We were forced to look at it and accept it. And it works, Christopher. The illusion of separation is broken, right? Oh, with that in mind, Mr. Brown, would you be willing to close us
Sure.
out in prayer for tonight?
Sure. Thank you, Paul, and thank everybody for your participation that made this get together possible. So as we take a collective breath together, recognizing the oneness, that there is no separation in this moment, that awareness is what is hearing these words, awareness is what is beating each of our hearts, awareness, all of this. We can call this awareness God, we can call it by any other name. It doesn't diffuse the fact that this mystery is our very life. And from that place of knowingness, I simply thank each and everyone for their participation, knowing that they go forth with a little bit crisper look at triggers, that they'll be more informed and more aware of their own contribution to the peace on this planet and to the peace within themselves. And that moment by moment, we are awakening from our illusion of separation that we can actually feel. And so I claim that for everyone this evening. I know we are so blessed as we again return to peace again and again and again. So may this peace spread out through the world as you do good work and you do love's mischief in the world. And with that, I'm simply grateful as we release this together by saying, so it is.